Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Human Services Committee for January 21st. Be in control of the meeting tonight. The chairman cannot attend this meeting tonight, but as the chairman had previously sent in an email, he wanted to welcome all new members to the committee. So our first meeting of the new year with Mr. Harmon, not a stranger to the legislature, but a stranger to this committee. So we welcome him and his expertise. And Ms. Lewis, we're thankful to have you on the committee and the experience that you will bring forth, and as we are going to be discussing the Health and Human Services. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And returning Mrs. Gustafson.
Thank you.
So moving on with our business today, is there, if everybody has had an opportunity to read the minutes from the last meeting, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I can second that.
And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried.
May I
Next
abstain?
item of business. You can if you wish,
I mean,
because you don't know the minutes
Yeah.
from your meetings. So
yeah,
that-
so,
That's
I
that's
read,
fine.
Okay.
I read them
Yeah.
all.
what?
Okay. One abstain. And our next order of business is privilege of the floor. Is anyone here today to speak to the first, to the privilege of the floor?
Yes.
Please come right down front here. You can sit at this table and introduce yourself, and you have to do 25 jumping jacks, and then you should be able to present.
Get warmed up, huh? It is a little cozy in here. Karen Engstrom, Town of Chautauqua, Village of Mayville. We have a public safety concern in our communities related to industrial wind and battery energy storage systems. There were 14 people speaking to the Chautauqua County Board of Health this past week regarding the negative human health effects and the public safety hazards related to the proposed 600-foot wind turbines and now the battery energy storage systems that are abundantly appearing throughout our county. The 600-foot wind turbine proposals are in the towns of Stockton, Ellery, North Harmony, Sherman, Westfield, and Ripley, and other towns yet unnamed. Many town trustees are currently undertaking the difficult task of writing laws to protect their towns from the potential hazards. In 2019, our County Board of Health urged local communities to establish a minimum of 1.5 miles from any property line and at 35 or fewer decibels of sound frequency because of the human health effects generated by industrial wind turbines. Also, testimony provided to the health board you have here and will get in your email. And I would like to quote from the testimony at the state level, the State Board of Health, Department of Health, I should say, and I'm quoting part of it. The expert there was Henry Spleethoff, and he is an employee of the New York State Department of Health, and he said, quote, recognizing the health-related effects of audible noise include annoyance, sleep disturbance, cognitive performance reduction, effects on social behavior, cardiovascular effects, and psychophysiological effects due to the noise from industrial wind. That was his testimony. The second and bigger concern we have now is the rapid development of battery energy storage systems in many locations throughout our county. The one in particular in Dunkirk is 3 blocks from the high school, 6 blocks from the hospital, close to the corridor, the rail and I-90, and a mile from SUNY Fredonia. Battery energy storage system hazards due to the lithium-ion thermal runaway fires and explosions are well known, and you have a piece of document here that talks about the highly flammable toxic gases that can happen if there is a thermal runaway fire. There are also tremendously high costs for very little. The installation and maintenance is costly, the lifespan is very short, and the charge-discharge cycles mean that they only keep, after they've stolen the energy from the system, they only can maintain 70% of that energy. So they're really not a very cost-effective plan to have. So BESS is being proposed in close proximity to our schools, hospitals, homes, and could be catastrophic. We're hoping that the legislature will recognize this and will consider a pause, consider a countywide pause or moratorium, so that the towns who are trying very hard through their wise decisions to do limited moratoriums to create the kind of safe laws that will protect the health and safety and welfare of the residents. There are 3 things that can be in those laws. 1, the requirement that there be no PFAS or PFOS, forever chemicals, in the components of all industrial wind, battery energy storage, and solar. 2, all components must be recycled to ensure that the valuable and toxic parts are not wasted, but will not be relegated to landfills. And 3, all components be manufactured in the United States for safety reasons and for security reasons. So I'm going to provide in email a number of documents, and there are a couple of them attached here to you. It is potentially something that our town trustees need help, need guidance and protection from, especially battery energy storage systems, but also the industrial wind. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any questions? Question?
Yeah, has anyone done any research to see where these wind systems follow these laws and they're, you know, and,
We call this the Wild West of wind because the laws have not been created at the state level. The towns have home rule right to create restrictive laws, and they do try to put in sound parameters, but it's not been, in the 3 that we have in our county, those particular townships, correct me if I'm wrong, found that many of the people who were on the boards did benefit from those projects, and there's no law to say they can't. So those went in without safety measures. They went in without setbacks that were adequate, and they went in with very little in terms of protection from the sound annoyance, which is a physical aspect that we need to care about. So there are 10 towns that have avoided this
okay.
in New York.
What I'm asking is, it doesn't even have to be in the state of New York. I'm just wondering if anybody did any
yeah.
research. And out in California, they have these, you know, these control safety features in a wind system. Has anyone ever researched that?
Yes, and there are 10 towns in New York that have put in parameters that say a wind turbine cannot be any closer than 5 times the height, because the heights continue to rise. And those towns have not been challenged, and they have not had a wind developer come to their towns. So those laws are very useful. You have a question too?
Yeah, just one thing. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but back, I want to say 2 or 3 months ago, in my town, my district, which is the town of Hanover, this BESS was presented, and it was actually shot down. It was not voted on by the town. They actually voted it down.
I thought it was just a moratorium. You put in a moratorium in Hanover.
In Hanover, that was just a moratorium because
Just a moratorium, you're writing your law, and your law's got to
Right.
include some protections.
Right, because I know that that was our issue at the time, was it was too close to the school, which is our evacuation site. And there were a lot of, the only person there that was really upset was the homeowner, obviously, because he had so many acres of land that he wanted to put these things on. Now, I'm not sure if anyone knows the size of these. 1 megawatt is equivalent to a tractor trailer, the size of a tractor trailer. They want to put 250 of these things in one area. Do you know how much space that is going to take up and stuff? And then going back to the fire issue, the fire hazard, how to put them out. There's not enough training. We don't have the equipment locally anywhere to fight or even sustain these fires. It can't. So,
Volunteer firemen, right. And those are $1 million apiece. Can you imagine what Hanover could do with $250 million?
yeah. Well,
You
yeah,
know?
but I don't think they were gonna, they weren't gonna benefit $250 million. It was only.
I know, it's just that the investors put it in, and if, it isn't justified by the energy, because if you have reliable energy like hydro and dual cycle gas, you don't need to store energy because it's on call 24/7. It's completely dispatchable, and it's safe, and it's reliable, and it's cheap. So,
I guess my concern would be is if they're putting up the windmills and solar farms to harness the energy to go back to the grid. I know the grid can't accept the energy because it fluctuates too much to come into the grid to even think about it. These huge programs would harness that energy or hold it, but isn't that like the cart before the horse type of thing, would you say? They're building all these things to produce the energy and there's no place to put the
Right,
energy. So
right.
now it's after the fact. That's where I have a really huge concern.
it also can't be transmitted anywhere because we don't have the infrastructure on the
That's-
grid.
Okay.
The
that
grid
was another
can't-
question I
can't
had.
hold it.
I won't say who I heard this from, but it was someone who did put up the windmills in the area which I live in. And I saw him and I said, they're not turning much. And he says, we need a customer base, to use that energy. And I think maybe the towns could bring up that question. Where will the customers come from? We're a small community to
It's-
reap your investment.
It's like Jefferson did to the Indians. He said, you have the land, we want it. First we'll bribe you, and then we'll take it by force. Downstate wants this land for solar and wind and battery energy storage. They're not going to put it in New York City, no, or Long Island. They want us to do it and send it to them, but at this point, the grid can't do it. So if she would put nuclear power plants down where it's needed, the question would be done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Thanks,
much.
Gary.
And I'll just make a comment, that, I think the towns are, I think, trying to do the best research that they can now and make the laws that are important. And I think, as the county has looked into this in the past, that we've developed some energy committees that have done some reporting to the legislatives body, and I believe that committee and group is still meeting. Are they still meeting, Pierre?
Yes, they are.
Yep.
We also need to bear in mind that, as Karen pointed out, New York is a home rule state.
Yep.
So the towns do their own zoning. The county doesn't do the zoning. We have no authority over zoning. And zoning is what controls where and when these facilities can go in. So we can advise the towns, but we can't tell them what to do.
That's right. And, and so with that information, the county still has taken part in, seeing the importance of the situation and researching ourselves. And I'll say, as a person that's lived near one of these windmills, they're noisy. I used to be under the assumption of who am I to say what a neighbor can do with their land. Well, it directly affects you, and I didn't want to live near the thing anymore. It flickers, they're noisy, and it really wasn't the prettiest thing. It really was not peaceful to live near, and I moved. So, I will say that it's not, if someone has that mindset, then they shouldn't, because it can affect them, and I guess your voice does matter if you're, if it's your neighbor's land and they can do what they want with it, but it will affect you, and so in that sense that they can't, so it's up to the towns to protect those people too, so. Okay. Anyone else for the privilege of the floor? Not seeing any, we'll move into our agenda items. Our first agenda item is for discussion. It's a local law introductory of 126, a local law amending the Chautauqua County Charter. on each of our desks, and it's been emailed to us previously for us to review. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the local law?
Chairman, I just want to say that,
Microphone, please.
sorry. I just want to say that there was a lot of time and energy spent by, a specific committee to do this. I have read through it. I think their changes are appropriate, and I would be willing to pass this as is.
I
Any
had-
other discussion?
Yeah, I had some questions.
Sure.
I just wanted to know why it's on page 4. It said that, the date was changed from June 15th to May 31st. I was just wondering, was there a reason for that change, or?
Sandra, what section are you in?
I am in,
It's section
So-
3.02,
3.02.
yeah, we're down
yes,
into the,
3.02.
under II, the first.
And then the resolutions adopting.
It says
financial-
resolutions adopting financial management policy, investment policy, goals, objectives, and performance measures pursuant to County Charter, Section 2.05, by June 15th has been slashed, and it is now reading May 31st.
Yes.
Yes.
Sandra, the reason that the commission recommended that change was because in terms of the development of the tentative budget by the county executive,
Okay,
that June 15th is already in the period when he's already working on his tentative budget. So they wanted to get it in front of the beginning of that action.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
And I think that it's important too, because by June 15th would be challenging to get that into a June agenda item as well. You know,
Okay.
say that there was something to come forward. Geez, our meeting agendas are probably
Well on their way.
well on their way, and the pre-files, it kind of depends in June what it is, but it's like putting someone right up against the door.
Yes.
Okay. And, I have this on page 5, but I could not find it. Excuse me. The chief fiscal officer, maybe it was on 4. Who is that? Oh, yes, it is on page 4. Just had a question, especially when I saw the next part that was crossed off,
Yes.
coroners. I didn't know what that was, or special assistant for Medicaid.
You're in
I just said
C.
A.
The chief fiscal officer is the finance director for the county. No?
No.
Her boss.
Your boss. Okay, I know.
Yes, she's
All right,
my boss.
I just elevated you. All right.
I appreciate it.
Okay, all right,
Especially since we just
okay.
met.
Okay, so it's, so the chief fiscal officer, I was just wondering, is that a partisan appointment?
It's an appointment by the county executive.
Okay. And then on the, page 5, I just wanted to know the reasons to change, 4,000 to 10,000 in 2 places. Was there a particular instance in which something warranted the county executive to be able to move money, larger amounts of money?
Sandra, I sat in all the commission meetings. I wasn't a member of the commission, but I
Okay.
sat in all their meetings. This was discussed at length from several different perspectives, primarily from an inflation perspective. That this charter, that section of the charter hasn't been changed in 30 years.
Okay.
So the discussion was that what was, 30 years ago, what was worth $4,000 is a lot different than what's worth $4,000 today.
Okay.
So it was primarily from an inflation perspective. And were bouncing all kinds of numbers around. Should be 5, should be 6, should be 10, should be 12, and they finally settled on the 10.
Okay, thank you. Were there any other reasons for it to bump up? Was there an instance in which there was a need
No,
to
just inflation.
transfer 10,000?
They didn't speak that I recall about any particular examples of when it was causing difficulties.
All right. Just, okay. Oh, I just wanted to know, what are I noticed it was added twice, fringe benefits. Is there like an example of what we consider a fringe benefit? I believe that was on page.
Fringe benefits
Yeah.
are all of the employee expenses that basically aren't your base pay. So your health insurance, your retirement expenses, your
Thank you.
FICA, all of
Okay,
those.
that's what I was thinking. I just want to make sure.
Any sort of mileage reimbursement or reimbursable amount or anything like that would be considered part of a fringe benefit as well? or-
Okay.
Well, I guess,
Uh,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because you could submit those, you know, so anything like, you know, then it's a very wide spectrum.
I know, so and to have it not there before just made me question,
Mhm.
you know, that we haven't had that there before.
Sure.
So to add that, I was just wondering. And I don't know where it is, but in the email from Olivia, she mentioned there was another change that the referendum period is from 45 to 60 days. I was just wondering why.
That's not a change, that was an error in creating the local law.
Okay.
That our previous county attorney pointed that out, because we don't do charter changes very
Yes,
often.
true.
And so he pointed out that it was an error, and it should have been 60 days.
Okay, thank you. All right,
And
that's it.
Sandra, your questions are excellent. I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to review this in that level of detail. I wanted to take an opportunity to give you a little broader perspective about the process. We are required to form a commission to review the county charter and the county administrative code every 10 years.
Okay.
So we have done this several times now. 10 years ago, we did it. 10 years before that, we did it. And I think that was the first time. But for perspective, 20 years ago, the commission made recommendations for 3 changes. 10 years ago, they made a different commission, made recommendations for 2 changes. And now this commission spent a lot of time looking at this in very great detail. Literally, every month last year, they met and worked on this. And that's why they've got lots of changes. A lot of it is housekeeping, cleaning up, bringing things into current. And so this commission did a fabulous job
yes, I
of bringing
can
this
see that.
really to a current state where it should be. But we only do this every 10 years.
Yeah, that's fine. I just, yeah, thank you.
And because it is a local law, we discuss these in committee, but the only actions are taken by the legislature.
I know, that's why I brought all my questions here, because I know we won't do this
Perfect.
at next week's meeting, so I saw that. Thank you.
No problem. Like Pierre said, it's great questions. It's important to read and study these and ask the questions. So any other questions regarding any of these, this local law change? So I also will say thank you to the people responsible for taking part in this suggestion recommendation. I know the work that it entails to go through all of that, so thank you. No more questions. We'll move into item number 2 on our agenda today, and that's proposed resolution confirming reappointment Chautauqua County Office for the Aging Advisory Council.
Glad you read it out loud, because I didn't have an agenda. I was trying to make eyes with Diane to see who was first. Dana Corwin, Director of the Chautauqua County Office for Aging Services. So this appointment request would have come in December, but unfortunately, Dr. Leila Denoya was out of the country visiting family, so I couldn't confirm if she would continue, but I am pleased to ask that she continue on with another term of 2 years to the Chautauqua County Office for Aging Advisory Committee. She does a fantastic job She comes from higher education. She's spent time at SUNY Fredonia. She is bilingual, fluent in Spanish, and serves as an excellent resource to our advisory council for aging services in the community. She also has a history of participating as a caregiver for family members. So she has a significant insight into the services that we provide to older adults and caregivers.
May someone speak in favor of her as well, who knows her for
Absolutely.
many years? She's a colleague of mine at the university. She is a wonderful woman. She loves giving back to the community in which she lives, and I know she took wonderful care
She did.
her. Yeah.
Yep. And she's has a history in grant writing, which makes her even that much more attractive to the
Yes.
office and the
Yes.
agency. And like I said, she would have been included in the first round, but I had some trouble getting a hold of her, and I didn't want to speak without having spoken to her first to confirm that that was her intention.
A comment of clarity and correctiveness. Should it be Chautauqua County Office for the Aging Advisory Board?
It's council.
Because when we reviewed our bylaws and things, it's,
We had a lot of
Board.
questions on board versus council, but going back to the state regulations, they do call it a council.
but we call it a board.
I'd have to pull it. I've looked at so many things today. I wouldn't say that I've looked at that directly, but I can check for you.
Okay.
Because you're right, we did review the bylaws after a couple years of use, and we've signed off on those. Gosh, a couple months ago.
Yes.
I just don't trust my memory today.
No, I understand, and I know that when we did that,
We had a lot of conversation about that.
it says that it's a Office of the Aging Advisory Board is what our, like what the title is. So, it's important that we just have that clarity.
How is it presented in front of you? Because I don't have it in front of me.
Council.
Council,
Council.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried.
Very good, and I'll confirm
you.
that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is a proposed resolution number 3, and it has been tabled by a previous committee. The chairman did allude that he would comment on why it was tabled, and I guess I would ask that question just for my own curiosity.
Sure. For background, the governor, just before the new year, signed a bill allowing counties, towns, school districts, villages, cities to offer an exemption, property tax exemption and fees exemption to fully disabled veterans. And so based upon that, I researched the situation, looked at the bill, and saw that the conditions that it specified that a veteran needed to be fully disabled, deemed fully unemployable, and have received financial benefits for the housing to qualify. So I thought this was is very worthy of our consideration. So I drafted the resolution. Lo and behold, not only did I think it was a great idea, the New York State Assembly introduced a bill to make it mandatory, not optional, for counties, schools, and towns, and villages, and cities. And that was unanimously supported in the Assembly Committee and moved to the floor of the Assembly. The Senate introduced a companion bill, a identical bill, and that was approved by the Senate. So now they're in the process of conferencing before they create a final version to send it to the governor. So given that the state is going to make this no longer optional but mandatory, there's really no need for us to enact a resolution. But I'm from Missouri, and I like to be sure that the state does what I think they're gonna do, so that's why I asked the committee to table it, not to withdraw it. So if the state follows through, then this proposed resolution will just die. If the state doesn't follow through, next month we can take it up again.
Taking no action.
So, yeah, no, and so thank you for the explanation on that, and it was important. Now, you did state that they were going to make it mandatory for schools as well. Is that proper by me saying that? Because the schools have the option for the school could partake individually as well, but they're gonna be mandated to, you feel?
That's a very good question, which unfortunately I don't have the answer to.
Okay. Because you did say school district.
I did say school districts. It was optional. The bill that is in fact in place now says that it's optional for school districts.
Yeah.
What I was told was that the state assembly and senate are now removing it from being optional and making it mandatory. But I don't know the fine point of who it's mandatory to.
Okay.
I don't want to misspeak by guessing, since I'm not sure, I'm not going to offer an opinion.
Thank you. And that, because I know sitting on a school board previously, there was always a discussion item of, this was a discussion item a few years ago. It wasn't to these particular details, but it was in, service members in general were you were able to give them a discount on their taxes.
Mhm.
And a lot of school districts actually didn't opt in. I know currently what's the county doing for a regular service member? We have some things, is there tax breaks for current military that you're aware of?
I believe so. Yes.
I agree, and I don't know the specifics, but I feel that we've
This
visited a few.
This action is aimed at a very specific group.
Sure.
And in my opinion, and in the opinion of our Veteran Services Director, it is a group of individuals who are in the greatest need of assistance.
Sure.
Because they're fully disabled, they're unemployable, and they have sought assistance for their housing in the past. So this group, it's not a large number of people in our county, but they are a group of individuals who are truly in great need.
Very specific, yeah. So-
Yes.
I was surprised that we did not have it. So the great state of Wisconsin has had it for many, many, I have family members that are 100% disabled veterans,
Mhm.
and they get the spray. And I said, we don't have it here in the great state of New York?
Mhm.
So I was a little bit surprised, so I was happy to see it as well.
Happy to see it. We're catching up.
We're catching up, yes, yes.
Is there any other questions or comments relating to this? My intent is to just have no action. We're gonna let it be tabled as the other committee had done so already, but, you know, we certainly,
Right. Once a committee tables it, it's off the agenda for everyone else, including the legislature. So
Do you need
I
a
just
motion?
wanted to explain a little bit about what
Yeah.
brought us to this point.
go ahead.
I make a motion, we table this
No,
resolution?
no action can be
No.
taken. It's already
Okay.
tabled.
Yeah, it's already been tabled, so we just, you know,
Okay.
it's on here, and one can ask the question why it's been tabled, and that's
Right.
what we did. So,
Sure, we
and-
discussed
And
it.
we had some discussion on it, so.
Yep.
Okay, moving forward to number 4, is our discussion, and it's for the Division of Temporary Assistance, and Diane Anderson is here to discuss that. So any new member on the committee, you will be lost. And I will say that it will make sense eventually.
But not
to-
tonight.
but not tonight.
But not tonight.
As a member of the committee for a few years now, I still don't know it all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And, but I learn every time, so, and Diane's very knowledgeable, so if you have a question, just ask her in stride. She'll keep rolling through, but just stop her and ask her, so.
Yep. Diane Anderson, Director of Temporary Assistance. And the report that I'm giving tonight is for the month of August. The participation rate for New York State was 15.3%. The rest of state was 14.7, and ours was 11.2. We ranked 25th in the state for the highest rate. This report's currently a couple of months behind. Not sure how that happened, but I will be working on catching it up, and we'll try to send the September and October along with the November for next month. So you'll get like 3 reports in your email.
Okay.
There were 69 individuals who were participating and counting in the rate for the families, and 224 safety net were participating and counting in the safety net rate. There are 2 different rates, just for some of our new members. They both are required to be at 50% for the all families and for the safety net. There were a total of 114 families who were participating in activities but not counting in the rate. So they were missing some hours that did not allow them to count. So we had a total of 183 people participating in some capacity. And if we looked at only those people that were in the non-exempt category, the participation rate would be 13%. There were 44 conciliation notices sent to those who were not participating in work activities up to the maximum number of hours required. That gives people an opportunity to respond and tell us why they didn't show, get them engaged in activities. And if we don't hear from them, or if it isn't resolved successfully, then they end up being sanctioned. We did process 33 sanctions for failure to comply with employment activities. 9 were in the all families category, 8 were safety net, and we had an additional 16 that were sanctioned for noncompliance with substance abuse requirements. There were a total of 26 individuals in sanction status, and 22 were sanctioned beyond their duration. So they could have done something at that point to end the sanction, but chose not to. And those will count against us in the participation rate when they figure that. The non-exempt and the exempt, in 2015, we saw a shift in the number of exempt individuals, and they were exceeding the non-exempt at that time. As of June of 2025, the number of non-exempt now exceeds the exempt number. And there were 1,024 non-exempt versus 893 that are exempt. And of those 1,024 non-exempt individuals, 511 were in the all families category. And of the 893 individuals who are exempt, 257 were in the all families. The IMA report, the Industrial Medicine Associates, is the last copy in your handouts. There were 113 applicants who were referred for IMA assessment. 55 of the individuals showed for their assessment. And of the 55 who were assessed, 17 did not meet criteria for treatment. 13 were already engaged in treatment and will now be monitored by IMA. And 25 will be referred to treatment and monitored by IMA. So there were 38 new IMA clients, 7 are in long-term rehab, and 31 will be receiving outpatient treatment. Safety net individuals make up the bulk of the people that are referred, and there were 92.9% were in the safety net category. The temporary assistance caseload has increased slightly since the beginning of 2025, is currently at 2,131. And the SNAP caseload has decreased slightly since the beginning of 2025 and is currently at 10,836. The applications we received decreased slightly from July to August. We continue to have a 31% denial rate due to failure to follow through with the requirements of the application process. And just to give you an update on the ABODs that we talked about the last time I was here in October, we were required to get notices out to all of the able-bodied adults without dependents by, I think it was November 1st. We did get the notices all sent out by at least mid-November. And then on November 21st, the state told us that there was a court proceeding and they halted the early end of the waiver. So we have the waiver back until the end of February. We did keep working on our processes, getting notices out, having orientations for clients so that they would understand the requirements and how they can keep their SNAP benefits. So those have been ongoing, and I think we'll be in a good place for when we have to start tracking people for this in March. For temporary housing, there were 294 cases residing in temporary housing. And of the 294, there were 136 single males, 56 single females, 10 couples, and 92 families. There were 13 individuals recently released from jail or on parole, and we didn't place anyone in code blue in the month of August. The total cost of temporary housing for the month of August was $320,477.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
I'm just shocked, that's all. I'm okay.
At the cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the costs aren't exactly reflective of how many people we had in housing, because those come in sporadically at times. So they're kind of up and down. They don't really match the number of individuals, just so you know that.
In a question, Diane, you know, as far as cost-wise, it'd be interesting to see this chart in what it would be referred to as a cost perspective. You know, what's it cost the county? I've always been an advocate we need to provide these services, and we do, and it's very important. But one way we can help control the expenses are cost, and making sure we're doing all that we can to advocate for those spaces, and also have the spaces, but effectively control our costs in that way. You know, what is an average cost of if you had to comment, would you say our costs are increasing with this? Have they stayed the same? Are they flat?
I think they have decreased in some areas because of the programs that we've brought in, the PASS program, RSP, and the family-centered case management. So we do have seen some cost savings from those initiatives. But the numbers do keep going up.
Sure.
So it might not look like the costs are going down necessarily.
No, and that's my point. You know, I've just been an advocate. The numbers may continue to rise because the need is there, but a way that we can, you know, our expense for this could be much worse if we weren't controlling our costs. So instead of it being $320,000, it could be $420,000 because our costs are really getting ballooned. So, you know, and our caseload's going to be there. It's just how we can control our costs.
Right, yeah. So I have a little more information about the PASS program on the next page. We had 26 new individuals and families enrolled in the PASS program. 14 were moved from temporary housing to permanent housing. That's also a cost-saving measure. 12 were able to retain their current housing, avoiding the need for temporary housing. And the total cost savings from PASS was $80,843, and of that, local share savings was $41,030.90.
Yeah, so, you know, and that's, you know, thank you for your work in that and trying to make that an importance, because, you know, it just helps out our own area. The people are still getting served and serviced. It's just probably in a more effective way, quite honestly.
Yeah, it's much better for everyone to be
Yeah.
in permanent housing than in temporary housing, just not a good situation.
Certainly.
So do you have controls for the rent that we pay? Or are they,
Well, for under temporary assistance, we have a shelter allowance that we're
Okay.
allowed by the state.
okay.
For a single person, it's $167 a month. So that's why we asked for the PASS stands for Public Assistance Shelter Supplement. So the state did approve us to pay up to, I think it's 85% of fair market rent. So
Okay.
what we do is we put an additional allowance in the budget so that they can afford to actually be in permanent housing instead of temporary housing. Temporary housing, there's no limit.
Right.
So if someone's in the hotel and we're paying $109 a night, there is no limit to that. We pay the whole entire amount. But rent is limited, which seems backwards, but that's why we asked for the PASS program. So that has been helpful.
I have a question. Do you guys work with,
So low.
with local hotels and,
So
you know,
I'm just saying.
as far as rates are concerned, they have special rates? Do you negotiate those rates, or is it something that, this is what I'm gonna charge you and you have to pay it?
We have negotiated rates for the one hotel that we contract with. Most hotels are not interested in contracting with us, so they kind of set the rate. Some of them do give us a little break on the rate, but not most of them, so.
Okay. Just curious.
And in a way too, that it's an expense for them, I'm sure, in different various
Oh,
ways
yeah.
too, to be able to do this. And so, you know, it is probably difficult for them to adjust the rate because it ends up costing them if they didn't, so.
Yeah.
I know it's a tough situation all around, and that's, you know, I've been an advocate for finding, even more of a permanent, temporary place for them instead of a hotel. A hotel isn't always the best place,
Right.
to be, but, and for various reasons with our other, community partners, you know, hotels aren't always the best choice, as far as location and stuff too.
Fast choice, so I think
Right.
you get
But-
someplace.
Yes, and so it's, but, you know, our hope is that shift can get into a more permanent, steady place.
Yeah, we
Even
do
though it's
have
temporary
two
assistance.
shelters. We have the men's mission, and then we have the one for single women, Hope Haven. Both are in the South County. You know, those have been helpful. Of course, the costs are a little more for those, but they do provide case management and assist clients to, you know, with things that they need to find
What about
apartments. and-
transportation? Is that included in that cost too, or is that
No,
separate?
it is not. Transportation is a large problem that we
Say.
continue to work on, and in fact, just had a meeting about transportation today,
I
so.
was gonna say, that seems to me that would be, that's gonna be a huge hurdle, almost, you know, because not everyone does the same thing at the same time, and some requirements of transportation is gonna be all over, every day, all over the place,
Right,
so.
yeah, and as hotels fill up, because we're under code blue conditions right now, the warming center has been at capacity, so that's why we were having the meeting to talk about, you know, how can we get people to where there are openings? No answers yet, but we continue to work on that.
I'm sure, so,
Do you partner with agencies that do provide temporary shelter, like the YWCA of Jamestown?
They don't provide temporary shelter for us. It's actually Recovery Options Made Easy is the warming center provider. And we had the meeting with them and with Mental Health Association to see who might be able to provide some transportation. We've also reached out to cab companies and that kind of thing, but we haven't gotten much response on that, so,
And you know, you do utilize carts where you can, I'm sure.
Yes.
But also they have their abilities as well, and if they can be helped, they can be, but otherwise, you know, it's hard for them to expand services because I feel it's, you know, I've tried this in other departments and areas. I always try to advocate to utilize our county carts.
we did reach
But-
out to them, yeah, and they
It's-
aren't able to expand. It's the hours, because typically people will show up, you know, right at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
they're not running anymore.
Yeah.
They did say they would put out feelers if we were able to find some kind of a van or something that could transport people to their employees to see if they were interested in, you know, possibly
Staying
helping
on.
with the driving and that kind of thing, yeah,
Yep. Okay, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Is there
Um,
any grants or available monies for transportation within the state or federal funds that
Not
you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. I
Okay.
think that, mental hygiene department has some funds that they can use, and that's what, you know, Carmella was working on, using some of those funds to help with this.
Okay.
The Family Centered Case Management team had 22 new families enrolled in the month of August. There was one entry to employment, and 67 families were linked with community agencies to assist them in all kinds of things, you know, meeting the requirements of temporary assistance and getting engaged in mental hygiene. So those are important things for people to be able to move into, to do the things that they need to do to move into permanent housing. And there were 14 families who moved from temporary housing to permanent housing. Katie usually does the staffing for the next part, and she was unable to be here tonight, but if there are questions about that, you can reach out to either Katie or myself, and we can get those answered for you.
Do you have a high turnover?
In staffing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been, you know,
Yeah.
since 2020, basically, we've had large turnover, so, and there's a lot of training involved, so it's hard to retain people because it is overwhelming to deal with the regulations and changes and all of that, so, yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you for presenting today. And as Diane said, she's always available if you are looking through this report and have any questions. Reach out and she shall get back to you. Great.
So what you say?
That is all that is on the agenda and that we would be discussing today. Is there, next on the agenda is others. Does anyone else have anything to bring up under other before we close the meeting? So Tom's made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is carried. We are adjourned. Yay.
All right.
I told my husband, I said, we have a few items on the agenda. I'll be home by. Huh?